Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening, good evening. Hey, Phoebe, how you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. There's my Australia number one in here tonight. PG, much love to you, girl. And Janet, number two, girl. PG, much love to you, much love to everybody in here tonight. God bless. Good to see everybody. Miss Justice, 111. She's in the top four. God bless. Much love, PG. Much love to you, girl. I tell you, she made a believer out of me. Right? All right. Number four, PG's little girl. Australia, much love. Hey, girl, much love to all you guys. And yes, much love to Australia. She is a sweetheart, absolute sweetheart. Um, I can't get over it. Miss Justice was like New Year's Day. New Year's Day, she was like number one, and I was like, I'm gonna watch because um they say whatever you do New Year's all year long, and she has been in the top four like almost every single time, every single time. And we're heading into June, right? We're heading into June. So half the year she has always been like in the top four. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I'm gonna tell you, New Year's, I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good. So I can be good all year long. I might get a Christmas gift. Right? Oh goodness. That is something. Oh, absolutely. Australia, absolutely. Please hit the thumbs up. Free way to support Summer's channel. Yes, yes it is. Yes it is. Hey Patty Allen, how you doing, sweetie? Good to see you in here. Good to see you. And Lisa, good to see you, girl. Let me see who else is in here. I'm heading to the bottom, you guys. There's the other Sharon. How you doing, Anna? I see you, girl. Ah, there's George's wild child. How you doing, sweetie? And Karen. Karen, I see you, girl. There you are. Let me see. there's their mouth. How you doing, sweetie? And Jean, how you doing? Good to see you, Chris. Good to see you. Hello, PG mods and chat. Love and blessings to y'all. Hey, love and blessings back to you. God bless. Hey, Brandy, how you doing, Carrie? That is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, girl. Hey, Em, how you doing tonight? Um, I hope I say this right. Bomber cat. I think I don't know. She must be muted. Yeah, I was for a minute. I was for a minute. Hey, Dawn, how you doing, sweetie? Yeah, I was. Oh, wow. Hey, Lynn, how you doing? Oh, Carla, I appreciate that. God bless. I appreciate the support for Summer's channel. All right. Where she's starting my night off right. Helping out the channel. God bless. God bless you, hon. Absolutely. I appreciate it. And let's see. Bridget, how you doing, sweetie? I'm getting down through here. Oh, Australia. I appreciate that. Absolutely. All right. I appreciate the support for Summer's channel. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I'm just chilling. How you doing, sweetie? Justice for Summer Moon, Utah Whales. Amen. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Marianne, how you doing? Lisa, I don't know if I called you out or not. There you are. Love you, darling, indeed. Hey, we love you too. You know it. Um, hey, Molly, how you doing tonight? Good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, absolutely, Molly. Absolutely. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Yes, each and every one of you that have supported the channel tonight. God bless you. All right. I wanted to clear a little something up. Now I know that, I know that we got a lot of, people in the bushes. We get a lot of people in the bushes over here. Um, on this channel. Always a lot of heads in the bushes. One head in particular, right? One in particular. Always watching. That is, something to say. Weird Al, right? Weird Al. Got something to say. Always got something to say. I'm going to tell you. She said a little something that was pretty disgusting, right? Pretty disgusting. About PG. Now I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to repeat what she said because it was super disgusting. But I'm going to tell you what she said in psychology is called reflecting. It's called reflecting, meaning that she was talking about herself and not me. This stuff was in her head, not mine. Now, she said something very, very disgusting about Don Will's son, right? She says, when PG finds out, she's going to have, and I'm not even going to say what old Stinky Fingers said, right? I'm not going to say what old Stinky Fingers said. But I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to tell you, Weird Al, and you know who I'm talking to. You know exactly. You got something to say. Well, I got something to say too. I got a lot to say. Now I'm going to tell you something. One, Mrs. 66. If you got another 6 in your pocket, then yeah, you probably do. You're a beast. And I'm going to tell you, must be beautiful up in Grand Rapids Falls, right? Must be a beautiful place, right? Yeah, must be a very beautiful place. What ain't beautiful? Living up inside of a place all by your freaking self, right? Nobody wants nothing to do with you. Wonder why? Mrs. I had a dream. I had a dream, says Weird Al. This is a story. This is a story about Weird Al. That always wants to have something to say. I think everybody knows exactly who PG is referring. Right? Of course we do. But she says, I had a dream. I had a dream that I married this guy. 3 days. 3 days. It was a truck driver. A truck driver in Wisconsin. She had a dream that she married this truck driver up in Wisconsin. And when she woke up, she went and bought a wedding ring. Now, she didn't just marry a truck driver in Wisconsin. No. A couple days after they was married, she only knew him. Like for a day. And a couple of days after she marries him, he passes away. He gets into some kind of accident or something. Passes away. She goes out and buys a ring. It's a dream. It is a dream. And she goes out and gets herself a wedding ring and thinks about changing her last name to whatever this man's name was in her dream, right? How weird is that? How weird is that? Now I'm going to tell you, I ain't the one going sideways at people. Weird Al is coming sideways at PG. Weird Al is saying some awful, disgusting things about PG. I'm going to let you know right now, Weird Al. Unlike yourself, I am not in to young children. I am not no Candace. I obviously am not no you, right? I don't sit around and have those things that you're trying to say people have when it comes to some young child and a young child's case. That's disgusting. This little boy, I already knew about Josey getting adopted. I knew about this, you know. I knew about this before, before. I knew about this early on. I pretty much have known everything about the Wells kids, from day one. I knew when they were taken. I knew when they were meeting up with the parents. I knew when the parents were no longer allowed to see them, and I knew why. I knew that Josey was separated from the other two boys early on. I told everyone that. I told everyone these kids were separated. Josey was taken somewhere else. For his own good. He couldn't stay with his brothers because it was too toxic. It was too toxic. He was trying to, he wanted to control the other boys. And, it was just wasn't working out. So, but I didn't bring it out here. I didn't bring all of these kids' information out here in, the public eye, because I think that those boys have been through enough, right? They've been through enough. Our goal is to find Summer, right? Summer is the topic here, not her brothers, other than getting closure for them and praying that they get to stay wherever they are and be safe. They're not the topic. Summer is the topic. The goal is to find her, bring her home, and get justice for her. I've said that from day one. Day one. PG has said that. Right? Absolutely. I have a lot of respect for those little boys. I have a lot of respect for Summer having to go through what she did to save her brothers, and save them she did. This is a case of tragedy. Real tragedy. This is a case of loss, and real loss. A beautiful, blonde-headed, 5-year-old little girl that had a whole future in front of her got it all taken away on June 15, 2021. It was gone. I do not think we could ever imagine. We could not ever imagine what the Wells children went through. I don't think we could
imagine the pain. I don't think we could imagine the sorrow. I don't think we could imagine the hell and the misery that these children endured in the short time they were with Don and Candace and Grandis Wells, especially Summer. Especially Summer. And that's what I try to stay on topic with. I try to stay on topic with Summer and Summer's case and the people, the suspects surrounding the case in order to help get Summer's case solved and Summer found, brought home, and some justice served up. That's what, that's what we work at over here. Well, other people don't seem to be working, you know, at what we are. We don't seem to have mutual agreements of why we're out here in a true crime community. Some creators do. Some of us do have mutual agreements to why we're here. And some don't. Some don't. Some ain't here. Some are not here for these missing kids. Some are here just to cause hell and havoc because they're just pure evil, selfish, self-centered, self-seeking, and looking for self-gain. And something to say is one of them that should not even be in a true crime community, because something to say, if we remember, put a 1 in the chat if you remember when something to say was defending a guy at a church that was an SAer. Because I remember it. I remember it clearly. Oh, I got receipts. I definitely have receipts where she was talking about and defending an SAer at a church. Yes, she was. Absolutely, she was. And also, she acted like she knew a bunch of stuff about the Rose Bly case when she knew nothing about the Rose Bly case at all, right? She knew nothing about Rose Bly's case. She knows nothing about Summer's case. She knows nothing about anything. But she sits around and acts like she knows every damn thing when she knows nothing. Now, this is a person who had a dream and bought herself a ring. What the freak? That I'm going to tell you, that's a little freaky. That's a little freaky, to say the least. You can't. You got to. Something has to be. All the lights ain't on upstairs if you do things like that. But the lights sure ain't on when you sit around and you're thinking. You're thinking about. There is no polite way to say it. There is no polite way to say it, but when you're sitting around and getting, worked up in a wrong way, in the way Candace does with teenage boys. Because that's what she was, that's what she was implying and self-reflecting upon, is how she, she obviously, old Stinky Fingers was laying around in that bed, having some thoughts that were just unnatural about, about a child getting adopted. That's weird. That's weird. And then try to, reflect that shit off on somebody else, which was PG. Oh, hell no. You are not going to come out here and say some stuff like that about PG, Mrs. 6'6", in your pocket another six, right? Beast. You are not going to come out here and get away with that. I'm going to tell you what, I have been trying to ignore you completely for a while now. I don't even know you exist, to be honest with you, and don't even want to know that you exist in this life. I don't have nothing against you, but I have nothing for you as well. Right? I don't hate you, but I don't like you. I don't like, your issues, the issues you have. I don't like the fact that, you have some type of mental issues going on where you feel like when someone says up, you need to say down. When they say yes, you need to say no. When they say under, you need to say over. I don't like people who always, I don't know what your problem is. I don't care what your problem is. I just want you to, keep my name out of your mouth. Keep PG out of your mouth. That's what I want. Don't even think about me, and I won't be thinking about you. Right? But girl, you crossed the line this time. You crossed the line. And I'm going to tell you, I don't like people who cross a line with me. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I know it's awful beautiful up in Grand Rapid Falls, Michigan. And I don't want to hear my name out your face no more. You lay in that bed with that hair sticking up and them bloodshot eyes, and you can, do whatever you want with your stinky fingers. But don't put my name in anything anymore. This adoption for this child was none of your business. It was absolutely really none of nobody's business, right? It was really nobody's business that this young boy was trying to find a new home. Yeah, she does, Molly. She does. All she does is say PG this, PG that. Absolutely. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting. And the last thing that she said was, that just took it too far. That just took it too far. Took it too far. Now I'm going to tell you, I don't even watch this lady. I don't watch her. I don't want to watch her. I don't care about her. I'm going to be honest. I would not know half of the creators out here if they didn't at one time or another come at me sideways. When I first came out here to the YouTube community, I'm going to tell you, I had everyone, instead of welcoming me to this community, and as the good person I am, trying to help a missing child be found and trying to warn people how evil the parents of this child was. People said awful, ugly, terrible things. They came at me sideways. They were very, very mean and evil to me. And they act like I had no feelings. None. They act like, that I was just a robot or something, you know, maybe a puff of smoke. That I just, I wasn't human. Well, I got news for people. I'm as human as everyone else. I'm as human as everyone else. And I have endured a lot of hate, and I've endured a lot of pure evilness coming my way since I started Summer's case out here. And the only thing that has kept me strong and kept me going is God Almighty Himself and His Son, Jesus Christ. And they only kept me going strong because I seek the truth and nothing but the truth, and I tell the truth. Because Summer needs the truth, as all missing children do. And I've always tried to do what's righteous in the sight of God and in the sight of all the people around me, whether they be in this box or they be in my real life surrounding me. I always try to do righteous by all people until they show me I can't. If I've got any foes, it's their fault, not mine. Because I didn't ever wish to have a foe. I only wish to have friends. But that's what they made themselves when they came at me sideways. I have done no wrong out here. In this YouTube community at all. I've done everything right, and I know it. And I have done everything to my ability to get all the answers possible for every missing child. Not just Summer, but every missing child. And I have always brought the truth to the table. And I've called it like I see it. And I haven't ever been a turd pop sucker at all. I'm not two-faced in the least. Anything I say to you, I will say to the person themselves with no problem. And when I say it to you, I probably done said it to them if I got the opportunity to do so. One thing I'm not is a coward. I don't talk behind anyone's back. I don't say nothing that I won't say directly to that person. Because that's who I am. And I'm going to tell you something, Mrs. Hair sticking up, bloodshot eyes, ain't ever seen you one time out of that bed. You need to back up. Beep, beep, beep. Back it up. And leave PG alone. I'm being nice. I'm being nice right now. I'm being very nice. Right? And I'm going to tell you, She talks about everybody, not just PG. She talks about everybody. She talks about, everyone. Like she was running her mouth saying something. Um, I don't watch her. So what happens is people send me, you know, clips. They, I got a lot of friends out here in this true crime community. A lot of friends, and what they do is, when someone's coming at me sideways, they'll let me know. I've been busy. I've been real busy over the past, week. I've been super busy. I don't put my life out here in this YouTube community. I can't. Something if something great happens to me, I can't share that with you. And if something really freaking awful happens, I can't share that with you either. I can't share anything, right? So basically, behind the scenes, I endure everything in my own personal life, my own personal self. And no matter what's going on in my life, let it be good or bad, I'm busting my ass through it all to still help and still be here for these missing children because they need to be found, brought home, and justice served on their behalf. I don't get to open a live up and say, hi, everybody. We're going to talk about this and we're going to talk about that. Oh, we're going to talk about that mean old PG. And we're going to talk about that mean JLR. And we're going to talk about that mean Justin and Smellies and all of these people that are working like hell to do what's right for the children. We're going to talk about all of them, the ones that are truly working to help the kids and do everything right for the kids and find the kids and get justice for the kids. The ones that are boots on the ground, the ones that making all the phone calls and finding out all the information. Well, I'm going to tell you, we're going to talk about them. We're going to talk bad about them tonight, right? Right? I don't get the pleasure to open up something like that, and I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want that pleasure. I'm too busy doing everything correctly and doing it right and doing it honestly. And I'm going to tell you something. I got something to say. I'm going to let you know something. I would not ever wish to be you. Ever. I thank God every day I'm not. There you go. It's humans like you that make everyone else miserable. And I don't even know why. I don't want to know why. And fear that I would have to be like you to understand you. And I don't want to understand you because of that. What I want is you to get out of my life and leave me alone. That's what I want. And you take the rest of them evil beings with you. The ones that have been groomed to be turd pop suckers and followers of pure evil. Right? Take them with you. They're not welcomed here. That's what I'm talking about. I'm going to tell you something. It made me sick to hear her insinuate also that Josey, and she said this, she said that Josey needs to pay. He needs to pay, right? For what? For what Don and Candace had groomed him to do. She was, insinuating that Josey couldn't be with the other boys because of something, you know, really sinister. Yeah. Oh, stinky fingers? Yeah. I'm going to tell you something. Something straight up ain't right in this lady's head. Something ain't right in her head. Now, I'm going to tell you, Josey had a lot of problems. I'm not going to deny that. All of these children was having complications, but look what they were going through. And yes, Josey was, being groomed. He was being groomed, to be just like, Hunter, and just like his daddy, as in, you know, and using illegal substances, right? He was introduced to illegal substances a little too young. He was being introduced to, girlfriends a little too young. He was being introduced to a few things a little too young. But I'm going to tell you something. I didn't ever hear of this little boy doing anything that something to say was alluding to. I don't like what she was alluding to. And it's disgusting, it's sick, and it just shows what's in her mind. It doesn't show what was, in Josey's mind. It shows what's in her mind. Just like when she said, what she said about PG. That was in her mind. Like when Fred Hill went up on the hill and he saw, supposedly, allegedly, saw Jody Sue's son in the pool splashing around with Summer. I know what was on Fred's mind. I can't say what was on Jody Sue's son's mind if he was there. If that is true and he really was there. I can't say what was on his mind. Fred said Don and Candace both were home that day. So I could, I wouldn't think if this boy's outside, splashing around in the pool, I wouldn't think that, he would be thinking anything out of the way. I wouldn't think that this, this 15, 16-year-old boy would be thinking anything unnatural. But I do know what Fred was thinking, right? I know what Fred was thinking, and that bothered me. It bothered me. This kind of stuff shouldn't even be on your mind unless, you're like that. I mean, if I walked across the road into one of my neighbor's yards and I seen a teenage boy splashing around inside the pool and there was, a 5-6-year-old kid in there splashing around as well, I wouldn't think nothing. I would think nothing of that at all. I would say, wow, it's a really hot day and these kids are having some fun, cooling off. It's really nice that, that older kid to be watching over and playing with this younger kid so it could be outside, getting cooled off, right? I would be thinking all good things, not nothing evil. But I'm not an evil person. That's why, normal people don't think evil stuff when they see something like this. They just think that, hey, they're kids, right? I mean, to me, I don't care if you're 6, 7 years old, and I don't care if you're 15, 16, or 17, you're a kid. You are a child. All kids are kids. All kids like to, play in water. All kids like to, run. All kids like to play baseball, basketball, football. All kids, love to play dodgeball. All kids want to be included when something's going on. It doesn't matter what age. And, it's hard for a lot of kids, it's hard for a lot of kids to hear, oh, you're too old for this and you're too old for that. And then you wonder why your kids are growing up too fast. Because, that's what they're hearing. You're too old to be playing, this, and you're too old to be acting like a child. They are a child. Let them enjoy being a child, right? Let's let them enjoy being children. And that's what they are. No one should be thinking any evilness about children. That's just, it's unacceptable. But adults do. Evil adults. Evil adults do. They think bad stuff. Why? Because they're disgusting. They're disgusting. Right? They're having those irrational thoughts because they do irrational things. When someone, is thinking stuff like this and talking, they're talking more about themselves than they ever will be talking about the person they're talking about. And you learn a lot more about a person talking to you about someone than you will ever learn about the someone they're talking about. Because most people do not study psychology. Most people don't know anything about psychology. And because they know nothing about how the human mind works, they don't understand that, they're giving all of who they are away by talking about other people. And that's why people in the field of psychology know humans when they hear them talk. Psychologists don't have to know you to understand you as soon as they hear you talking. Just saying. I'm going to tell you, education is the key. Education is the key to success. Educate your children, educate your grandchildren, educate them. First and above all, teach your children to love God and the Word of God and Jesus Christ who died for them so that they could live forever. Put your child and grandchildren's souls first and above all. And then You worry about a roof over their head, clothes on their back, food in their mouths. And then you make sure you educate them up so that no one can ever gaslight them. No one can ever use them up and abuse them in this world because they'll see it coming and they won't let it happen. This is how you arm your children and your grandchildren up in this a world that is so evil. You educate them. Just saying. And I'm going to tell you, when they understand that's what's coming out of haters' mouths, when they understand that what haters are saying about them is truly what the hater is going through, then your child or grandchild will know how to turn their back and just walk away. It's not their problem. They'll understand it's that person's not their problem. That person has a lot of problems, but it has nothing to do with them. And your child or grandchild will keep excelling. They will excel in this life. You will excel in this life with education. Don't ever fight to keep anyone in your life. Don't ever fight to keep someone in your life. If humans talk bad to you, talk down to you, get ugly with you, they only come around when they want something, or they only call when they want something. Get them out of your life. Shun those people. If you think they're going to be there for you, you're there for them because you keep thinking they're one day going to be there for you, you are gladly mistaken. You are gladly mistaken. I'm going to tell you, there's only two kinds of people in this world. There's givers and takers. And most of them are takers. And they will take you for everything you got and then some. And you think by giving it all to them, when your day comes of need, they'll be there for you. You're going to find out they're not. You're going to find out you wasted a lot of your life trying to please everybody else when nobody gave a damn about you. And the sooner that you let them people go and start concentrating on the people who truly love you, who truly care about you, who truly deserve a place in your life, who truly deserve the attention that you haven't been giving them because they are there, the better off you'll be. Open your eyes and pay attention to the people who want to be there for you, and stop paying attention to the ones that don't. Let those people go. They don't respect, they expect. And when people start expecting instead of respecting, Well, you've already gave too much. You gave too much. You want people to really love you? You want to know who really loves you? Then don't give nobody nothing. That's how you'll find the ones that love you and the ones that don't. Because if you ain't got nothing to give, or at least act like you don't, and they're still around, those are the ones you want to keep. Give people your time. Give them your love. Give them your kindness. Give them your caring. But don't give them everything they ask for. You're not supposed to supply their cars. You're not supposed to supply, you know, their utilities every time they're getting cut off. You're not supposed to supply, working and doing for them all the time. You're not supposed to supply all of these things. They got 2 hands, 2 feet. And if you can do everything for yourself, they can do everything for theirself. Let them. That's the best gift you can give them, is to teach them to stand on their own 2 feet using their own 2 hands, just like you've done. Sometimes the best gift you can give a person is saying no. Just saying. But I'm going to move on. I didn't come in here to educate everybody in in how to handle their life. I didn't come in here to educate you on that. I wish somebody would have educated me. I had to learn the hard way. But I learned. And I thank God I did. Because I'm going to tell you, it's very toxic when you have all these people around you that don't respect you, that ain't going to be there for you, and just using you up. It can get very toxic. I wish I got a whole lot of people out of my life way before I did. And I don't regret it. I don't regret living the way I live now. Like I said, I like to have all friends, but in this evil world, it's impossible. It's impossible. People are going to dislike you for no reason at all. No reason whatsoever. There are always going to be these people that don't know how to carve the hate and the envy and the jealousy and all the shit out of themselves. They don't know how to carve that out of themselves and let love, kindness, and caring replace it. Right? They're just evil. And they can't help. They can't help the way they are because they fed it too long. They fed that evilness too long. And it's who they are now. And you can't change that. Don't even try. Just saying. But yes, Josey is looking for a new forever home. Why is Robin and Tim Mullins and some of those people that are so close and so friendly with the Wells, why ain't they stepping up and taking this boy in? I mean, I heard Tim Mullins, put a 1 in the chat, please. Put a 1 in the chat if you heard Tim Mullins say that those kids shouldn't have ever been taken out of the community there in Rogersville Tennessee. They shouldn't have been taken out of their community because they, they were a big hand and a big, a big gift to the community that could have helped and changed the community. Put a one in the chat if you heard him say all of this good stuff about the Wells kids. Well, Tim Mullins got a really good job. He's got a really nice home. He's got a really stable, character in his community. I'm sure he would make a great adopted parent. So, why is he not stepping up and, he's got a chance to bring one of these children back into the community, right? He has a chance to bring one of the kids back into the community. Um, Robin, her and her husband, they're pillars. They're pillars, right? They're pillars in that community. Fine home, good family, super affiliated with the church and everything. Both of them have really good jobs. Why ain't they bringing the child back into the community, right? Why would they not do it? Um, and didn't that church say that they have like an adoption thing through that church? Why are they not reaching out to some of the people, who like to adopt children? Why are they not reaching out to some of the people through the church to, possibly take in this young 16-year-old boy of the Wells and give him a good and forever home? Um, why not? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's an awesome ideal. Absolutely. Glad I thought of it. Right? Yeah. Why not? You know, I'm going to tell you why not. It ain't because, and put a one in the chat if you agree with me. It's not because of Josey. It's not because Josey has any type of issues, or anything that, they would be worried about by taking him. I think Josey's probably a really good kid. I think he's probably a really good kid looking and seeking to have a really good future, to change his life for all the better. I think he really does. I mean, all humans, the only thing any human truly wants is to be loved and accepted, right? That's all anyone wants. When you walk into a restaurant to order up some food, all you want to hear is, "Oh, hi, how are you today? Can I take your order?" Right? "Oh, yes, yes, okay. No problem. That's good." If you don't want ketchup or you don't want mustard, sure, that's fine. Okay, here's your order number. You will be calling you in a minute. You just want people to be nice to you. Your food comes up, you want them to call your number. "Here you go. Would you like, any extra stuff? Maybe ketchup, maybe extra mustard, maybe extra things, you know, cream for your coffee, maybe some sugar." I mean, you just want people to be nice to you. That's all you want is kindness and caring and acceptance. Whether you're at a gas station, you're at a place where you're out to eat, or you're at a family function, or you're at your job, or wherever. You just want people to recognize you, be kind to you, nice to you, and, watch over you the way you would watch over them, right? Everybody keep everybody safe. Everybody work together to make the world a better place. That's all anybody wants. But you can't have it. Why? Because the devil's loose. The devil's loose. You can't have it. And the reason that this child isn't getting a forever home from a lot of people is not because of him. It's because of Don and Candace. It's because of the parents. People don't want to have to put up with them. Robin doesn't want to have to put up with Don and Candace, so she can't take their son. Tim Mullins don't want to put up with Don and Candace, so he can't take their son.
A lot of people don't ain't going to take the child because of the parents. The parents are number one suspects in their own daughter's disappearance. The parents are super freaking evil and everybody knows it. They were very abusive to these kids, and God only knows if they could do all of this, and in my opinion, they did. What more could they do if you had their child in your presence and they knew it? Right? Put a one in the chat if you agree. It's not stopping, you know, they're not being stopped by the boy and or anything wrong with the boy. They're being stopped by the parents of the child. I mean, even the two younger boys, even the youngest one, the very youngest one, it'd be hard for him to get, if he was looking for forever home, it'd be hard for him too because of the parents. You wouldn't be worried about this little guy. You wouldn't be worried about him. You could take him in and rearrange his whole life for the better, right? You could take him in and help him and make a whole new child out of him because he's really young. But you'd always have to be worried about Don and Candace popping up. That's what you'd be worried about. And that's just more than you want to worry for. And that's true. That's what I'm talking about. Now, this is some of the stuff that old Tim posted out. It's nearly June, and we can feel it. Summer, Josey, Wyatt, keep trusting God. What do you mean, summer? What do you mean by summer, Tim? Summer, Josey, Wyatt, Waylon, keep trusting God? What do you mean about summer? Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure Summer's trusting God because, in my opinion, that's who she's with, Tim. Right? That's who she's with. And I can understand you saying Josey, Wyatt, and Waylon keep trusting God, but why'd you put Summer in this? That don't make no sense. That just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Right? That's weird. That's weird. I'm not going to say it ain't. That's weird. And then supposedly, Robin comes along and she makes some kind of statement as well. You know, um the three awesomes, Summer Wells, for Josey, Wyatt, and Waylon from Robin. The three awesomes. Um, if they're so awesome, right, Robin? If they're so awesome, well, the one in the middle right now needs a home, a forever home. Where are you at? Where's your Christianity right now? Where's your Christianity right now? You know, you know these kids and you know this family more than anyone would ever know them. Why ain't you stepping up to the plate? That's what I want to know. Tim wants to talk about all this stuff about communities and how the oldest boy could be such a big powerful figure in the community and everything, for a man. um right here, our amazing son, Josey. We are so proud of you, Josey. You will be, and this particular word right here, uh, you know, means, you know, um,
a male, a strong male figure in the community, a control and power in a community. It's talking about, the male, not female. I found that really, really weird. I found that very weird. Um, of our family one day. What a man. So, I gotta wonder about that. I gotta wonder, you know, um, what what are they talking about? Um, I don't know. I don't know. But I don't get into that stuff because I think all humans are equal. I think all humans are equal, and let it be male, female. You know, I think we're all equal. I don't, I don't see race. I don't see cultures. I don't see male or female. I don't see, um, I don't see, Catholic or Christian or this or that. What I see is a human race. There's one race. It's called a human race, and we are all equal. Every person on the face of this earth, every human on the face of this earth has the same opportunity as the other. And if you're not achieving everything that you want, you can blame no one but yourself. Right? You guys just blame you. Because you can, the stars, the freaking sky's the limit. Reach for the moon and you might rope a star. But you can, if you really want it, if you want to really rope that moon, you can do it. You can do it. You got to have faith in yourself. Nobody can hold you back from anything that you truly want to do. The only thing's holding you back is yourself. A lot of people say, oh, my family held me back, or this holded me back, or that. No. Nothing held you back but yourself. You were afraid, you let those things hold you back because you were really afraid to move forward. And you should have. Where there's a will, there's a way. Go for it. You only get to live once. This life is yours. Best understand that. There's something you really want in this life, by God, go for it. Right? Josey loves exploring the woods and is looking for a forever family. He's looking for a forever family. It would be very hard to go back to Ben Hill Road after you've lived a clean life, right? After you've lived a clean life. It's very hard to go back. I don't like words that Tim Mullen uses. I won't even say words that Tim Mullen uses because I find that I find it offensive. I find the word he used offensive to women. That's what I did, and that's why I didn't bother to even say it because I found it offensive. Just saying. And I don't like that. I don't like people who want to separate society. We need to all stand together as one. We all need to stand together as one and equal in this world. I'm going to tell you, if we all stand together, we could get a whole lot done. Right? I mean, if you go back to the Bible, when all the people, all of them spoke the same language. At the beginning, all of these people were one. They all were, working together, spoke the same language. And what happened? They was building they was building a tower up into heaven, wasn't they? They were working together and they was building a tower all the way up into heaven. And you know what? God said, "Oh wow, look at this. All of these people, they're working together, and they're building this, and they're up into the heavens." And he had to do something. So he collapsed it right to the ground. And when they all got up, they were speaking different languages, and they all parted. They all divided to what they could understand and went their own separate ways. And that's why we've got different cultures today. Right? That's how different cultures became different cultures. You're looking for answers. Read the Bible. They're all there. They're all there. He's not with his brothers because it was too toxic. It was too toxic for him to stay with his brothers. And Josey had a lot going on when they first took the kids. And they had to separate him from the other boys. And he went to like a ranch, like a boys ranch type thing. And he got a lot of help. He got a lot of help to straighten him out and turn his life around. And he's not the same kid. He's not the same kid that they took from 110 Ben Hill Road. He's no longer that kid that was on 110 Ben Hill Road. This child is a whole different child now. He's a whole different child that has been taught how to control, everything in his life. He's, to want more than what 110 Ben Hill Road was offering up. He has now been, educated up to want way more than that horrible life that he was once living. He's been educated now to see that this isn't the way to live. It isn't the way to treat people. He shouldn't have ever been treated the way he was, and he didn't like it, and he should not ever go out there and treat anyone the way that he was being treated. What you don't understand is he couldn't stay with his brothers because he was learning to be aggressive, just like Don and Candace. Josey was learning to be aggressive. The Wells did not, teach their kids to care and love one another. They didn't teach their sons and daughter to care about one another. They were raising them like heathens. And these kids were they were raising them to go at each other instead of, stand together as one. And that was the problem. When they got put in a new place, Josey was the biggest one, and he was still trying to be like his parents, like his parents was, very abusive, very abusive. And it was abusive to the other younger children, to the point that he had to be separated. And that's what I heard. That's what I heard was going on. And that's why they had to separate them. he was really out of control. And he was out of control, not just with his siblings, but he was out of control with the foster people too. And it just wasn't working out. Right? That was a problem. So,
A pod of whales.
I think you nailed it the last time.
We need
lions, tigers, snakes, and pervs.
Oh my!
Yeah, there needs to be a term for this mythical group of perverts. I don't even want a lurk of perverts or something. So there's this whole group of them that are around, right? Okay, I mean, this is preposterous. I mean, Chris, wouldn't you overdo it with security and protection if you thought anything like this was going to...
Well, not only that, Doctor, is that when Summer goes missing, she sends her 3 unattended boys to look for them, to look for her, while saying somebody...
Incident behavior. Right, Josh? I mean, that's a great point. I forgot about that. She sends the boys out. Where's Summer? I don't know, Mom. She's not here. Summer, are you down there? And she goes down in the basement. Okay. She's just when she's just like she's gone. She's just gone.
She's gone.
Okay. And then what happened?
Preposterous story.
And then what I did was I sent my boys out into the same environment where this person's lurking allegedly before I got home, and who may have just taken Summer. Well, you guys go out there and see if you can find the pervert, and let us know if he has Summer. What if they would have run into the stranger with Summer? Okay, hypothetically, right? We just know it. DLR does not look right. It doesn't even sound right. DSR. Okay. And so this is why in the very, for all this whole time we've all been, thinking through this stuff, I said in the very beginning, I said, don't leave the house. Whatever you do, don't leave the house. And when I was there, I wanted to see that room. And I wanted to talk to Don. I had a chance to talk to Candace. And then I had a chance to talk to Robin, Miss Robin. She is an interesting character as well. She's in the church. Okay. And now there's a lot of myths floating around that somehow the church is involved in taking, Summer and placing her into a protective environment that, everybody's running around with, Wonder Woman, pajamas on with capes. And we've done a good thing from our church. We've got an adoption program and all this other stuff. Okay.
Hey, Carrie Hall, I appreciate that super sticker. All right. God bless. God bless. Oh, love you, PG. You're the best. Hey, girl, I love you too. You know it. Member for 12 months. All right. God bless. God bless. I appreciate the support for Summer's channel. Amen. As you can see, he talks about Robin and the church being into this adoption and so forth and so on. Could someone please put the lab's channel in the chat, one of my mods, please, and Chris M's as well, his channel in as well. Chris and the lab, they work together a lot, and they do a very, very beautiful job with Summer's case, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that. We all do. We all do. We appreciate all the creators who do such an awesome job with Summer's case. Shout out to JLR, a shout out to
the lab, to Chris M, to Justin, Smalley. We've got quite a few. We've got quite a few still left out here that, do such an awesome job, and we all appreciate it, right? Every last one of us appreciate it. But yes, if you could put Chris and the labs channels in, I would appreciate it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Australia, I appreciate that. I appreciate it. I love the lab. I love the lab. I love Chris. I love JLR. I absolutely adore JLR. I know that the one turd pop sucker was talking about JLR tonight, this evening. You know, white boys over there, wanting to get kudos with Don, right? Which is really weird. But, he's wanting to get some kudos with Donnie. And, and he wants to, I don't know what JLR has done or said to cause, but I think, it has all to do with when he knocked on the door at the hotel with Candace and Don over in Arkansas. I think that's the true reason that white boy's going at him. It ain't really about nothing else. It's really about the Wells. Any chance he gets to try to impress Don and Candace by, coming at someone sideways with his evilness, he does it. Chris, a loser, fake cop who harasses little remember, that is the real Dom Wells in here, you guys. That is the real Dom Wells in here. Chris, a loser, fake cop who harasses little boys. Remember? No, I don't. I don't remember. I don't remember. Don. I don't remember. What I do remember is Summer Moon, Utah Wells, a 5-year-old little girl that's missing. Oh, that's right. Your little girl, right? That, that you and your wife and your mother-in-law are the number one suspects in, right? You ain't cooperating with law enforcement. You ain't doing nothing to find her. Matter of fact, you're doing everything to keep her from being found, in my opinion, right, Don Wells? You're doing everything to keep her from being found, and have been from day one. Why? Why? Oh, that's right. You don't even want to talk about it, right? Talking about Summer's off limits. Why? Because that's the one thing that could get your ass put in prison, right? That's the one thing that could get you put in jail. Oh, yeah. I remember that. I remember all of that. I guess I don't remember other things because I'm too busy remembering all of this. Right, Dawn? There you go. I'm bringing you up, girl. What's up,
Hi,
girlfriend?
Mama Pete. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Tired, just got home. Long
Oh,
day.
I hear you, girl. I hear you. I feel you. I
Prayers to
feel
you
you.
and your family.
Hey, prayers to you and yours too.
Thank you.
How's the son-in-law of mine?
He is doing really good. We just got home. We're tired,
Hey,
but we just got here.
amen. Amen.
So, do
You
you think
tell
it's
him
really
take
the
it
Don Wells
easy.
in the chat?
I do. I do. I
Yep.
think it's the real Don. From the way he's talking, yeah, definitely. It sounds like him. Absolutely.
Yep. Come on
Absolutely.
up, Mr. Don Wells. Come tell us some more lies.
Yeah, come on up. Come on up so I can give you a steel toe boot because I really don't want to hear your
Woo
lies.
woo.
Right?
There you
I
go.
don't even want to hear them.
That's all he is, full of lies.
That's all he does. Come up if you're. You know what? Take the link and come up, Dom Wells, if you're ready to tell. the truth about June 15th, 2021. Come up if you're ready to tell the truth about how you guys, pre-planned all of this and you started driving, the other car, finding your coworker to blame it all on, knowing it was already going to be going down on June 15th, 2021, over there corresponding with Andy Bernard and Jody Sue all about it, because I'm sure they know, all about it as well, right, Don Wells? They could come up and tell me as much as you could, maybe even more, right, of
Right.
what happened June 15th, 2021. Absolutely. A
They
lot more
pre-planned
people
it all. Got rid of summer.
right. That's and that's my opinion, and I'm pretty sure I'm right. But if you want to come up here and tell the truth and tell where your daughter is, which probably over there at Morrison Cemetery, down in that grave that we're right now really seeking to get, to get taken out of there so that we can see if she's really down there. And if she is, I don't think we'll be seeing you on here no more, right? Right, Donald?
Nope.
That, uh maybe this is going to be
Oh,
your
he's got
last
7
call,
alibis. Right. 7 alibis. What lies, Dawn? Come on.
right? Right. So,
Candace has none because you and her done it. Mama PG and this chat right here loves summer. We want summer found.
absolutely. Absolutely. He says, I don't have nothing to talk to you about. Yeah, I wish you would think that way when you're freaking friend requesting my Facebook, Summer's Facebook, actually, because I don't even really run a Facebook at all, other than hers. But quit friend requesting
But
it.
it's okay
Quit,
for the other ones to
right?
talk about her.
Quit. I can't even do call-ins, because if I do call-ins, the next thing I know, he's calling the number. Right, Don?
Right.
You're calling the number. But you don't want to talk to me. No, it's me not wanting to talk to you. And that
That's
burns
right.
your ass. That burns your ass, don't it? That burns your ass because you ain't used to people not wanting to talk to you.
And Josie's going to tell it all when you done, and Candace and Grandis. He's going to tell.
At some point, yes, he will. At some point,
Yes.
he will.
Stop, Daddy. You couldn't stop, could you? Had to keep hurting Summer.
I think another reason that it would be really hard, for the older boy to get a home as well, is because if we remember right, Don and Candace was making it look like possibly the boys done something instead of them, right?
Right. And them kids did not do it.
And that kind of throws a monkey wrench in these kids getting a forever home too, when when there's this doubt in people's minds that the oldest one might have did something, that's being all
Right.
covered up. So, that's going to play a big part of this child having a hard time finding a place also. And then when the questions were asked, and he was asked, what are you proud of? And he says, being able to control his anger. And that kind, at that point, that threw a monkey wrench as well, because now people think you have this issue, that you have this issue, and it might arise, and how are they going to handle that? Hey, Ernie, I'm bringing you up. How you doing, Ernie? Good to see you.
Good to see you. How you guys doing?
We're doing
Everybody's
good.
doing fine. Everybody's doing good. All right, good deal. Good deal. Tell you what, wow, what a day, what a week, what a week.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Leave it in God's hands. Leave it in God's hands.
I see you got
It'll
some.
be all right.
I see you got some visitors in your chat.
Right? Don Wells visitor, right?
Oh, Don. Oh, Don himself. Don Wells. How you doing, Don? How you doing? You doing okay?
I know.
Tell you.
Don't worry, Mama PG's little girl's up here. Come on, Don. You say you know my mama, but you don't. Quit telling lies.
Well, Don Wells is he's got a few things going on now. You know, TBI with the investigations that they got going now. I mean, I'm telling you, I don't think it's going to be. I just don't think Don's going to make it too long. I really don't think he's going to.
No.
I just don't. I really don't. I mean, I've heard things, but I don't want to say because, you know, it might jeopardize something. But I just hear Don Wells has got his fingers in a little bit too much.
Amen.
Even
Right.
now. Even now. But I'm glad that, you know, people are starting to see that now because something needs to break in a case like this. Something needs to really give way. Now, Brian Burlow put in permission to examine and do what we need to do. So we should know something about 4 or 5 days, PG. So
All right. So you've got permission to check out that gravesite?
we put in permission. Tiger Ops has put in permission to go and do what needs to be done with the grave. The one thing that they asked that Ryan was telling me is they asked if we had our own professionals or if he wanted another, if we was asking him for another team come out of state. And I think that it would be better if we had someone that was close to the case and it was working in the case like with law enforcement, not on Hawkins County side, but with the TBI, who they could bring in somebody who's unaware of the case anyways. That way they get fresh eyes on it. That way there's no pretty much the clarification would definitely be there because they don't have any connection to the case at all. And that's
Right.
what I'm looking at right now. And that's one thing. And if Don wants to come up and say a few words about it, what do you think about that? Because, you know, the thing about Don Wells is he's one of those characters. He's very elusive. He's very, very elusive. You know, he'll put something out there to grab attention, but to pull it so far and then he'll move out of the way. He'll dodge it or something. So I've heard a few different things that he said that he kind of contradicts himself on, especially when he's talking and he gets into his way, he gets into his rhythm. He talks about things that he shouldn't put out there, but he does anyways. So maybe, you know, and I'm sure you probably got questions for him right now, PG, and you're damn good. You know how to ask those questions as well. You probably
Right.
got them. You should invite him up on panel. I mean, you know, a little old reunion, a little bit. That'd be good.
He won't come up. He's a wuss. He wants to come
Well,
up
I mean,
and tell us more lies.
he could at least come up here and say hi or something, you know.
And
You're funny.
for one, Don Wells knows that he'll get a steel toe boot coming up here, but even more so, the only thing Don Wells is afraid of more than me is you. He knows,
Yep.
he knows that we tell the truth.
Well,
But
Don knows that Candace. Don knows because Candace talked to
well,
Don. Don knows
he
Candace
knows
told him certain things.
he knows that he also knows that you're not afraid to
Not a bit.
be right there on Ben Hill Road, right there. You know, you ain't afraid to be right there at the Morrison Cemetery looking into
No.
things yourself. I mean, he knows that, you know, you're a traveling man and he don't like traveling men.
No. But, you know, I'm not trying to be too much or nothing, but Don also knows my heart and my passion for what it is and what it beats for. And
That's right.
that's something that you money can't buy. You see, money can buy Don Wells. Money can't buy me.
No,
It's not
because
buying me, especially when it comes to money can't buy.
your passion is to help others, not yourself. And when you're out to help others instead of yourself, nothing could ever buy you.
Right. And I believe Don Wells knows that. And you know, you could offer me hundreds of thousands of dollars And if it's got something to do with a kid, no, I'm not that way. But see, Don,
Right.
you offer him just a fraction of that, a little small amount of that. Don will. Don's all about it. So that's the difference. That's a big difference.
Yeah, he's definitely afraid of Chris too. Oh, he's definitely scared of Chris. He shakes in his boots. He shakes in his boots when when he thinks Chris is on the case or Ernie's on the case, know. And Don, I shake him and intimidate him with telling the truth because he don't like to hear the truth. But he's not as scared of women as he is of men.
Right. And he'll go
Don
to
is
Casey
used.
and his channel.
Don Wells is used to overpowering. He's used to overpowering women, right? He's used to overpowering women, in my opinion. And but he knows, he knows he can't overpower a man. He's afraid of a man, and he's definitely afraid of the law.
Did we lose him?
I know. I still got Ernie up here.
Okay, sorry for
No,
interrupting, Mom.
I'm here. I'm actually talking to Ryan right now, trying to get all the information. So here's the fact about this. Uh, we're looking into the graveyard. We're looking into the site there. I told you I would do that. I got that done. We got that done. But there's certain steps and certain little loops and
Is
hoops you gotta
the
jump through.
Ryan you're talking about? Is that Ryan finds truth, or is it a different Ryan?
No. I'm talking about Ryan Burlow. Ryan Burlow is one of the
Okay,
owners.
because I was hoping it wasn't that Ryan finds truth
No.
because that
He don't
guy
know
is,
anything.
yeah,
No.
that guy
This guy,
seems to be a part
this
of
guy's
it.
a pilot. He's a helicopter pilot. He's done things. He's former. He's
Right.
done a lot in his life. He knows what he's doing. He's a millionaire. He helps run Tiger Ops, and we're going to get it done. We'll get it done. It just takes time. It's like anything else. And I think that if this what you saying and what we think may have happened, it's going to be really, really big. But you still need the people to come together. The people still has to come together. We can do the paperwork. We can get everything done. But until we get the people together and they say, hey, enough is enough. Let's find this. Let's do this. And then we're going to be able to do it. And that's the way it has to happen. We can sit here and talk about it all day long, all night long, tomorrow, day after tomorrow. But if we're not doing anything, then nothing ever gets done. So you have to look at that. You have to look at all of that, because when it comes about it and you look, Don Wells is in this chat for a reason. Think about that.
Right. Yeah. Don ain't gonna come up here. He's too scared. He'll be in the chat, run his mouth a little bit, and he won't even be in there long. Once summer supporters start going at him, where's your daughter? Let's talk about your daughter. He'll be gone from there. He'll run off and hide in the shed again. He's probably out in the shed right now, hiding. Because that's what he likes to do. That's what he likes to
Or
do.
sniffing undies. Or stealing
Right.
people's undies and sniffing them.
Right?
Probably got Marlene's undies.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. I think, I truly believe that Marlena and her brother possibly turned some stuff in because of the reward. They found out that reward was for Sebastian Rogers and Summer Wells, and to the tune of about 250 grand right now. And I think that that big tip that they've been working on has came in. I believe it came in from us first. about the cemetery because we reported it up and everything. But I think that Marlene and her brother called in and stabilized it even more so with some information about Chad Arnold and Jimmy Long and Candace, and all meeting up down at Fred's place. And I think that her and her brother's possibly seeking to try and get that reward fund.
But see,
um
here's the reason they do that. Here's the reason they put some big funds out there, because they can always go back, even when it goes to when it turns legal. It's always going to turn legal. It always will turn legal. But they'll go back and they'll say, well, you accepted this money, or you put in for this reward, and why now are you? The question's going to be,
well
what
I
made you do this? And then
right I think what's intimidating them a little bit now is they feel that they might end up being implicated in withholding evidence, because they were questioned at the beginning of all of this, her and her brother and all of them. And and now they're giving, how are you going to come forth with new information, when you didn't give it at the beginning? What I'm saying is, law enforcement knows that you can't know something now that you didn't know then, unless Marlena would have to say. Now, Candace was on the phone with Marlena around 4:30, and that was about the same time that she was following Chad up out of Ben Hill Road, um, or getting ready to meet up and follow him out of Ben Hill Road, and I believe over to Morrison Cemetery. That's my opinion, but she really did follow him out of Ben Hill Road to somewhere. And that's not my opinion. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's solid. That's solid. Um, you know, from what I'm hearing, it's very solid. So the thing is the only way that Marlena would be able to collect that reward and her brother is if she told, TBI, that maybe she overheard it. Well, recently while she was at her sister's house, heard Chad and Jimmy Long over talking, or when she was staying down there with them, camping out with them, her and her brother, she overheard them, talking and saying some stuff about Summer Wells and the cemetery, and that's how how she know that that's where Candace and them went, and that's why they believe Summer's in that particular grave site. If she, she wouldn't have noted at the beginning if she just recently overheard it, and therefore she would still be able to get the reward because it is new information that she overheard at the, at a later date. So, that's true. That's true, but like, she won't get the reward if TBI doesn't you know if TBI doesn't act upon this particular tip, and they don't do something to figure out if Summer's in that grave. And as you said, you and your team go out there and you guys actually do it, and you do find that she's there. Well, that particular reward will convert over to you guys to donate or do whatever you want with at that time.
I've
So,
always said, a lot of people hit me up in Messenger, and they said, there's a $250,000 reward for Summer Wells, and any kind of information on her or Sebastian.
well,
And I'm like, well,
you support a foundation for missing children, right?
yes. I mean, and here's
And,
the
and
thing.
that would be a lot of money too for that foundation, minus what it would cost for the equipment and stuff to go out there and do what you're doing.
Well, see, Tiger Ops itself is a child predator task force. It's like, they expose and they do things. But and I know Ryan would be the same way about this. since this evolved, you know, and it brought me into it in, you know, 21, and then I would be the kind of person to, uh, I'd probably make, you know, I try to help people with equipment and stuff, you know, what they need and, you know, resources, more information on it. Me personally, I don't want the money. I don't want the $250,000. Because I
Right.
always say when it comes to a child, and if it's, now if I'm putting my heart, now, you know, if I'm putting my heart out there, if we go out there and we do this, and we get to, and we're able to do this, we get cleared for this, and we're out there with that machine, and we're doing all this machinery stuff, and we're around that graveyard. You know, if people want to donate like some money for food, for water, expenses like that, gas money, that's fine. But you know, as far as taking the reward money for something that we didn't just come up with in general, that we had other people involved in it, I wouldn't feel right by taking that money. I wouldn't.
Right.
And I mean, I do good now. I mean, I have my contracts. I have things that I'm doing now. I built myself back
No.
up, and I'm doing good. I don't really. I would like for a company that can take that money and do something with that money that's going to benefit the cause, even if it's
No.
just teaching. Even if it's just teaching. Go ahead.
I think the only thing that's really going to, I mean, if summer really is there, at this particular point in everything, I think the only thing that's going to really help Chad Arnold, in my opinion, and Candace and so forth, is if they figure out some way to get her out of there before people come in exhuming and looking themselves.
Right. And there's cameras too, right?
You know, I hear that law enforcement has been actually checking that particular area, pretty much to make sure there's no disturbance of the ground and so forth. I hear that surveillance, has been placed to see who's coming and going, and so forth and so on. And that particular area right there, because of everything that has went down over the last month and a half, 2 months, where the cemeteries.
So here's the big thing. What I want to do with this, if we get permission to do this, which I think we're going to get permission. I mean, it's especially if, the people I talk to, and if we get TBI involved with what we got. Of course, anything with TBI, you have to have reasonable suspicion or something that can lead to probable cause. And with that, I think that we would do really well with it. But I also think that, it would uncover a mystery and something that's been far way too long. And if Summer is there and we uncover.
Right.
Yep, we lost him.
Yeah, I lost him. He'll be back. He'll be back.
Well, I'm going to jump down and listen and let him come back up and talk.
All right,
Prayers
girl.
to you, Mama. And I
Hey.
love you. Prayers to everybody in the chat.
Prayers to you and yours. And God bless you. The cemetery is a hot topic right now, not just with all of us, not just with Ernie and his team, but it's a hot topic right now with law enforcement as well. I know this to be a fact. That it's a hot topic, with Ali as well. They are pursuing this particular topic, and it's going through its channels. Because that's what it's got to do before anything can be done, and sometimes it takes time for that. But I guarantee you that, that particular gravesite better not be disturbed in any way, form, or how, or, it won't be good. It won't be good. That's for sure.
Well, don't you think you should tell the FBI that you have Summer? I mean, here's a call coming in. Okay, if anybody, and I'll make a quick message here tonight, a public service announcement. If you have Summer Wells, okay, you're about ready to go to prison.
Yeah, for a really long time.
For a very long time. Okay, so this is one of these things that's a myth. Stop with that, because Miss Robin, quite frankly, told me, and
interesting.
And she told me, quite frankly, when she got there that night, she knew something was wrong with that family.
Whoa, you hear that? You hear that? Robin, Robin confided into Chris M that, something was really, really out of place and disturbing where these parents were concerned.
And she told me straight up. I asked her straight up, and it's, tell me what your problem is here with them. She goes, there's something wrong.
Right. And when the interview that you had with her was going to come out, she says, I don't know what he's going to play, but I want, basically trying to get ahead of it. That wasn't played at the time. Robin said to Chris that there's something up. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. She feels that way too. She told you that.
Yeah.
To your thing. But then supports the Wells currently, which I find odd as well.
Well, it's okay. I mean, Robin's a good person. She's not a bad person. She's just confused, but she knows what the truth is.
Absolutely.
Even her own heart told her in the very beginning of this whole thing, there's something's not right in River City here.
Mm-hmm.
And, the fact that she, picked up the trombone and started, playing it around town, and everybody saw her coming down the hill. Okay. Coming down the hill, wah, 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 you going, playing the trombone. This is why she got so nervous when I played her interview.
Yeah, exactly. Because she didn't know what, right, exactly. I remember she put that video out and everybody's going, what the hell's that?
Yeah, she tried to get out in front of me, but you notice I ignored it.
Okay, and nothing on there. Right, nothing on there. It's like it kind of made her look kind of foolish for coming out and saying, I don't know what he's going to play or what was said. This interview was a long time ago, and then it was just like Chris never implicated that she had said to him, yeah, there's something's not right. There's something going on here.
Right, and I gave her my word I wouldn't tell her everybody everything, and I haven't, and I'm still not going to.
There you go. So Chris got a lot more out of Robin than, he's putting out. He got a lot more out of her than, and I do believe Robin, knows quite a bit. She kind of, the real Robin came to light at that prayer vigil held at the church for Summer. When they had the brownies and the cupcakes, and she said, where Summer's at, she don't need no brownies and cupcakes. I think at that particular moment, we got a glimpse of, how Robin really thinks and feels about, the Wells and what went down June 15th, 2021. I think Robin kind of, exposed, her real thoughts at that particular time, because she got, Don and Candace bailed out. Matter of fact, Don stayed on the parking lot, wouldn't even come in. And Candace, came in just for a second and bailed out as well because, of the guests that had showed up wanting to know where Summer's at. This weird guy shows up wanting to, know everything about you, like he has a right to know, all the information about Summer, like, where I'm going to find her. Where is she? You know, just this weird person out of the blue, and Robin gets stuck with him, right? Robin and her husband, they get in the church, they get stuck with this guy in there that's acting all weirded up and like he has some rights, to know all kinds of stuff and Candace and Don's running, which, leads us to believe that Don and Candace knew who this guy was. They knew who he was, and in my opinion, I believe this guy was a customer, to be honest with you. I think, Don and Candace did know who he was. I think that, at some point he had been a customer. And I believe that, he did feel that he had some kind of right, a weirdo thinking he had some kind of right, to know exactly why he can't be a customer any longer. That's my opinion. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. But, and maybe Robin had the same type of airy feeling like that as well. I don't know. But, I think that, she was just, could see some weird stuff going on also. And she just, it's like, hell no, this just ain't right here. What these parents did or have been doing. And I'm just going to put it out that, that I believe Summer's no longer with us as well. Right. Maybe this weirdo would take the hint, that because of what was going on, Summer's no longer with us and she don't need cupcakes and brownies, in heaven with God and Jesus Christ. She's fine and dandy and everything's going, going just the way it's supposed to be up there. No more worries, no more pain, no more sorrow, right? She don't have to, she don't have to live in this world of evilness, another tomorrow. She's, God has took her up and to a place where everybody else would like to go and be and someday, hopefully we will. But I think that, I think Robin was seeing some light at that particular prayer vigil and getting a lot more understanding about some really weird things, that took place. That's my opinion. All right. I think that's why nobody is, to be honest with you, Australia. I think that's why no one is. I don't think it's Josey, it's Josey. I don't think it's Robin or Tim, really. I think I truly do believe that it's the Wells. Nobody wants, they don't want to put up with the Wells. Yeah, I truly believe it will be solved as well. Yes, he does. He needs protection. He will need protection. Absolutely. Josey will need protection. I wanted to cover a lot more tonight. I would like to cover a lot more, ground on this particular topic of Summer's case and, and everything going on and around it. But I think I've kept you guys long enough. We will, pick up tomorrow night, God willing. We'll pick up tomorrow night where we left off tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night and we'll pick up right where we left off and finish covering all of this. I'm going to let you guys, you know, get some rest. I know a lot of people, you know, sounding tired, you know, saying good night, and some people saying, you know, I'll be here listening, and that tells me, you know, it's getting late. So, absolutely, we will be back tomorrow night, Lord willing. We'll be back here, and we'll finish covering this. You know, um, I truly believe that, you know, I truly believe that we're on the right track. I think we're on the right track because, you know, since the grave site has came up and came out, um, we have, you know, we have had um, Jody Sue, and we've had Andy, and we've had, you know, a lot of these people, you know, tail feathers. Their tail feathers has been in the air, right? We've got a lot of people been, you know, I took note that the people surrounding Summer's case, we have had higher volume from these people inside Ben Hill Road since the graveyard has came out than we've ever had at all. I mean, we have Marlena Crawford out here because she was wanting information for her good old brother-in-law, Chad Arnold, that was meeting up with Candace down at Fred Hill's place. We've had, you know, for Andy and Jody Sue out here. We've had, you know, now we got Don Wells popping in, you know. I'm going to tell you, we are on the right track, you guys. We're on the right track. And I hate to say it, but we got to try our best to get that gravesite checked, because I truly believe that we may find Summer right there in that gravesite. It was a brilliant idea. Oh, that was brilliant. And, you know, she probably wouldn't have ever been found. That's true. She probably wouldn't have ever been found down in there had Jody Sue and Andy, you know, really Jody Sue got away with talking about it. It was really Andy. Andy's the one that didn't get away with it, right? Jody Sue got away with it because she was in a Discord, and, you know, not a lot of people were in there, and it just, you know, and whoever was in there did not make a big, you know, to do about it. And that's why, you know, this didn't arise earlier on. When Andy thought he was going to be able to, you know, to do it as well, and we were able to snatch onto it. We was able to make a big to-do about it, because that's what we do, and bring it out and report it and go up there and check on it, and, you know, and then get stocked up over it, right? We got stocked up over it. And, you know, and next thing we know, you know, everything hit the fan, and these people's just coming out of the woodwork, something fierce, to the point that Don Wells is even crawling out now, right? He's even crawling out now. So, you know, I think we're onto something, and we really, really need to push to get this gravesite looked into. One way or another, we got to try to get this, you know, get it looked into, because in my opinion, this is my personal opinion, I really think she's there. I really believe she's there. And I really believe that's why Don Wells had that shitty smirk on his face, talking about how she ain't going, you know, ever going to be found. And I could ask you that question too, and all of this BS. I think that's why he was so, you know, so bossed up, was because, you know, he thought he had the cat in the bag. Well, I'm sorry to tell him, but the cat's out of the bag. This place might get checked into, and a lot of people could be going to prison, right? A lot of people could be going to prison. So you know what? We're going to stay on it. We're going to keep moving forward with it, and we're going to continue to do all we can to get Summer Moon Utah Wells found, brought home, and justice served. because that's what we do. We work for these missing children. We do not work for no suspects. We do not, care about any suspects. What we care about is these missing kids. Suspects are not our friend. We are not their friend. We are the friend of the real people who are the victim. And that right now is Summer Moon Utah Wells. Right? She's like I said, she is the topic, and we are fighting to reach the gold. And the gold is to bring her home and get justice for this 5-year-old missing little girl who should have not ever came up missing. She should have not ever came up missing. This little girl had every right to go to school. She had every right to become whatever she wanted in this life. She had every right to one day have her own family, her own grandchildren, her own great-grandchildren. She had every right to still be here and become whatever she wanted to become. I'm going to tell you, when you take people out of this world, you're taking 2 hands and a beautiful smile that could have touched a lot of people's lives. And now they won't. There was a lot of people counting on and depending on that big smile and those 2 hands in the future, who will not ever see it. It shouldn't be done. It should not be done. And we've got too many little hands and big old smiles being taken away from us. We've got too many hands that may have saved lives in the future and made life. Being taken out of this world because of pure evilness. And we've got to do something about it. We've got to do better. We've got to do better, you guys. We got to work harder and do better at getting something done about this. We have to get the world's attention so that this kind of stuff will stop and won't keep manifesting the way it is. We've got Sebastian Rogers missing. We've got 3 children over in Canada missing. Jack and Lily. We've got Michael Vaughn still missing. Summer Wells still missing. And other children too, missing. And we got a whole lot of them. A whole lot that was missing. And were found. And sad to say, 99.9% of the time, they're no longer with us. When they're found, they're no longer with us. And the list goes on. The list goes on. And every day more are being added to the list. More and more are getting added to the list. And I'm going to tell you, one of the things I prayed for, one of the things I told you guys to pray for, is pray that no more children end up like Summer and Michael and Sebastian. But they did. Lily and Jack. And that's what I'm talking about. I want there to one day be no need for a true crime community. I want there to be no need for this community, because I don't want no children to be coming up missing. That's what I'm looking forward to. And you know when that day comes? Do you know when that day will come? I'll tell you when it'll come. When Jesus Christ comes. When the rapture comes. That'll be when we don't have to worry about having this true crime community any longer. Because this is an evil world. And as long as evil's upon it, there'll always be this kind of thing happening. And that's sad to say. That's sad to say. And it's getting worse. It's getting worse. Get your house in order, you guys. Get your house in order. Because I'm going to tell you what. I don't know how this world could get any worse. I don't know how it could get worse. To be honest with you. Because it seems like it's about as evil as it can get down here already. Just saying. It really does. When you see old people being abused, used and abused and destroyed, and you see children being used and abused and destroyed, when you see people not caring about the old people and they don't care about the young people, and they think all people are disposable instead of indisposable, you better get your house in order. Because it don't get no more evil than that. And we're already there. We're already there, y'all. And that's the truth. I'm going to say good night. God bless. And much love.